The Honda Grom. Anybody who knows me knows I'm fond of this motorcycle. In fact, this 2022 I own. So what are we gonna do? We did a review of it, and I'm gonna be honest. So the first thing that you need to realize about the Honda Grom and the reason there's a cult following is there is a reason why that happened. And if you go back to the 60s and 70s, Honda had quite a few mini motos and they were very, very popular. It's something that kind of dwindled away and it went away for a long time until the Grom came back and recaptured that magic. There's a reason why they were able to recapture that magic, and it's because they did not cut corners. If you ever get the chance to get up close and personal with a Grom, meaning you get to see one in personal, not doing anything else that you shouldn't be doing with a motorcycle, you'll see that everything that is on the full-size bike is on the Grom, built with the same quality. That's the magic. That's what they ended up doing, is they made a mini moto, but that has the quality that you would expect from Honda, and it's put together extremely well. The riding impressions of a Grom is really funny. It's super fun to drive because you can keep it pinned everywhere. It corners like it's on rails because it's super light and tiny, but it's quite a bit more fun than what you'd expect it to be. The fact that I look like a circus bear riding it, that's just another thing. It's hard to pin down what a Grom is if you're not in the motorcycle world, because for sure, the first thought that you have if you never drove motorcycles is that a Grom is an entry-level bike. And you would be right. It is a fantastic learner's tool. I actually taught my brother Pat and his wife how to drive a motorcycle using my own Grom. That being said, there is a hard cult following for guys who really know how to drive bikes as well. Myself, I've been driving bikes for quite a few years, and I love the Grom. So it's not just an entry-level bike, because it's so much fun to drive. And where are you gonna be driving the Grom? Preferably not on the highway. That is obvious. Just look at the thing. It is tiny. So I can get it to about 100 kilometers an hour if I got a little bit of a backwind and I didn't eat all my food that day. So it's not gonna be breaking any land speed records, but on any back road, on any city road, anything like that, it is fantastic and a lot of fun. They matched the size of the tires and the wheels really well, so when you're cornering, it doesn't just drop right away because it still has a nice girth to that tire. And on the 2022, so same for 2023, it was a redesign. What did they do with the redesign? We got a cool new LED light, a new dash, and then the big thing that Honda was really proud to say is, hey, we gave you a 5-speed transmission. So the original Grom was a 4-speed transmission. What do I think about the 5-speed transmission? It was whatever. Like, you're barely ever able to even be in 5th gear. The fuel economy on this bike, whether you're beating the crap out of it or taking it easy, is insane. It's about like 2.5 liters per 100 kilometers. So you guys do your own conversion there in the States. Google is your friend. The 5th gear, I think a little bit more of a marketing thing and something like they felt they had to do. Does it add to the motorcycle? Not so much. Does it take anything away? No, either. So it was a change, whatever. The styling is really cool. You can play around with the panels. They're easy to take on and off. And then the other thing with the Grom is the cult following. And why do you need to care about the cult following? Aftermarket parts. You can hop these things up. They'll make cages. Guys will learn how to do stunting using this bike. So they're using an underpowered bike that's very small, very light, very easy to catch mistakes, to learn. And then when they get on the bigger bike, it's a lot easier because they've learned on a small bike. So pricing of the Grom is really well placed. For you folks in the States, right around 3,500 bucks. In Canada, just shy of 4,000. We're gonna add destination and PDI charges. Get over it, everything has it. So that's normal. But it's a very cheap bike to get into. So if you're a new rider, if you need a pit bike, if you need an extra bike to have fun with, if you want a bike to teach people how to ride and get them into it, price point is really good. So that works. It is available with ABS, which is fantastic for the entry-level learner guy to make sure that if he makes a mistake, the bike's not gonna throw him off. But it's also available without ABS, and that's what I bought. So then I could do slap shot stops, and you could do a bunch of cool stuff and lock up the wheels and have fun with it. The fact that they offer it in both tells you that they are listening to their buyers. When we're talking about the engine of the Grom, it is a 125cc engine. So don't expect it to do too much. And it is rated at 9.7 horsepower. If I was Honda, I would have lied and said it has 10 because it just sounds better. So most snowblowers do have more power than this motorcycle. So yeah, figure that out. That being said, the 9.7 horsepower moves me around just fine. It moves anybody who rides it around just fine because it's such a light motorcycle. It is geared correctly in those first 4 gears. Now, if you want to talk about Grom competitors, you have to note that nobody else captured the magic of the Grom. Kawasaki has a Z125, which is a fantastic little motorcycle. It's identical to a Grom in terms of specs and drive. It's a very good little bike, but it doesn't have the following. So that means it's also not gonna have the parts. And then there is CF Moto that brought out a Saint Papio, which is the same bike as well, just in a different format, and it looks great. I haven't driven it, but again, you know, the standard is the Grom. There's a reason why this thing is what people care about. And the funny thing is, and when we're talking competitors, Honda is actually competing with itself. They brought out the Monkey and the Navi. So the Monkey is a Grom chassis engine, but dressed up in that 60s and 70s style, using an all-steel gas tank, all-steel fenders. It's a beautiful little bike, but it's quite a bit more money than the Grom, especially if you're considering the percentage, because it's roughly around $1,500 more. That's a lot when you're at that price point. And then just under the Grom, we have the Navi. I did a full review on the Navi, so you can check that out. But basically, they wanted to do an even more entry-level Grom. And the Navi is based off of a scooter chassis, so using basic scooter stuff. So just an automatic transmission, and it's very different. I owned a Navi and I promptly sold it. So that should tell you what you need to know between the Grom and the Navi. I've owned the Grom longer than I own the Navi, and I still own the Grom. So, you know, do with that what you will. And then the other thing that is coming, probably, I won't put it as a direct competitor, but it's still considered a Honda Mini Moto. And yes, I have one on order and I'm waiting for it. It's gonna come by any time, so we're gonna drive that, is the Honda Trail. It's very different. The whole thinking of the Trail is a lot closer to the Honda Cubs versus the mini bikes. So I'll have to do a review on that and let you know what I think.